Hello, this is 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 Chateaujon from Surpot Studio. Hello, Screw that timer. I'm not waiting these last 12 seconds. Don't tell me how to live my life, timer. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Surapot Studio Thursday stream. My name is Chateau Jaune, and I will be hosting today's stream. Hello, Last Fish in the Sea, but not the ocean. Hello, Michael Haas, Propel Jesus, Curiously, Teeny Thor, Danny RP, Bruno Morales, Jacobuwadi, hello, Royal Boy, Larkidon, hello, hello, Lech King of Dead, hello, who else? Yellow Porch, Skinner, Puma, hello, hello, people on Twitch as well, Streaky Toaster, Gamer Pavulk, hello, Wombat Pickle, hello, Gudenai, hello, Exotic Rapid, very nice to see all of you here. For those who don't know, we stream every Thursday, usually every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sometimes Friday, sometimes we skip it completely. Hello, Nitrogen. And we stream either Castle Story, or recently we've started showing some sneak peeks of our newest game called Mirador. Now, Mirador, for those who don't know, is the new game that we're working on right now. It is a boss fighting game, an online boss fighting game, except that the boss fights that you fight, the bosses that you fight are created by other players. So you get to create a boss and you get to go and fight other players' bosses. It's really, really cool. Very interesting concept. If you're interested in checking it out, we have a Kickstarter going on right now. We need all the support we can get. And you can access the Kickstarter by going on the link that is currently in the chat, bit.ly/MiradorX. I put a link in the chat. How's the development going? Pretty good. Pretty good. Steady. Check out the sneak peeks that we put on Twitter, on Discord, and on the Kickstarter page. But for today, I have a Castle Story stream for you. Let me just boot up the game real quick. There we go. It's going to be a black screen for just a quick second there. Should show the game any moment now. That's for sale, the Bertrand. No, those were rewards for the Kickstarter backers of Castle Story. Some of the Kickstarter backers. Sorry. There's no way of getting them now. Okay, so I was on the workshop earlier today, and I saw a map called, let me tell you what it was called. Okay, I saw a map called, let me open the workshop. Where is it? Where are my subscribed items? It is called Scrambled Path. Paths. And it's a pretty cool map. I'm going to put a link in the chat. And what's interesting about this map is that it has very little resources nearby, which I thought was interesting because it changes the way you play Castle Story, kind of. It makes it a lot more challenging. So I decided I would give it a go and try to make my own version of a desert map that has very little resources on it, very scarce resources. And I called it the Barren Lands. So I spent a little while before the stream started. Hold on. Let me just freeze that fan in place because I'm getting a little cold in here. I had a fan pointed right at me. So I call it the Barren Lands, and as you can see, it's very empty, and that's kind of intentional. I'm going to decorate it eventually. I'm going to make it look a little better. But I kind of want it to feel like a desert with almost no resources. If you want iron and brimstone, you can get a little bit. There's some here, but not that. Actually, maybe there's a little too much. You have to go underground to get iron and brimstone, from the cliff sides and from quarries. As for trees, there's some trees here. There's some trees further away. And then there's some trees way far over there. And then any other trees you want, you're going to have to work for. You're going to have to build bricks. You're going to have to get there. Stuff like that. I put some runes as well. Just to see. I don't know. Just to decorate a little bit. And I want to give it a try. I kind of think I put a little too much iron and brimstone. Well, there's some extra brimstone because brimstone, you really need brimstone to do anything. But maybe there's a little too much iron as well. Let me just reduce this a little bit. This is really not that much, but I want it to feel like any military unit you're gonna make is gonna be very precious to you. And then just try to see how long you can survive, Maybe on normal you can survive 10 waves. I don't know. Let's give it a try. It lacks, it lacks a little bit of texturing. It lacks some some decoration, you know. I don't know, just to sort of make it feel a little more natural, because right now it's only like one texture, which is fine. For today, I just want to, you know, test it out, see how it goes, see if there's too much or too little resources, because usually when we make maps, you want to define the basics first, you know, the resources, the topography, and then you worry about decorating it and making it look good. So let's try that. Something like this. Okay. Let me just save real quick. I put it on the workshop as well if you guys want to check it out. I'll update it by the end of the stream as well. Okay, I can actually... Just let me make sure that it works on Invasion. It works on Invasion. Good. The game has deserts. It does. It has winters too. It has, I mean, an Arctic winter biome as well. See? Okay, let me boot up the Barren Lands. Yeah, the Frigid Lastland is the map we made last, which was wintry. Now this is deserty. I'm gonna put it on normal. Animals would be pretty cool, even decorative ones. Animals would be pretty cool. I agree with that. Did you have the folder open? No, God, no. Never have the folder open when you're modifying a map. It will scrap your map. Stupid Windows. I would like it to be an official feature. Mods are not as stable. What are you talking about? You should play it, Clean Person. If you haven't played Castle in a long time, go check it out. Also, go check out the Kickstarter for our brand new game that we're working on right now. It's called Mirador. It's a boss fighting game, and the bosses are created by other players. I put a link in the chat. It's bit.ly/MiradorX. You get to create a boss, and you get to kill other players. Bosses get loot, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Check it out on Kickstarter. Hey, Shot to John, I encountered a glitch on Castle Story. I have been playing on the map for 7 hours, and the corruptions haven't claimed it. Jesus, 7 hours? You kind of should have beat the game after 7 hours. I'm not sure, Skinner. Send me your save file on support.castlestory.net, and I can take a look. We don't have any plans for Castle Story updates right now. Right now, we're focused on Mirador. Yes, you can beat Invasion and Conquest. You beat Conquest by capturing all the crystals, and you beat Invasion by reaching wave 60. All right, little Brictrons. I know it's hot in there, but we're going to have to figure this out and try to survive. Let's see how many waves I can survive right now. So obviously, the first thing I want to do is get wood, but I'm going to not get the layer that's back there, because then those trees might fall into the void. I might have to be, like, micromanage my Brictrons. Like, manually put my Brictrons on the opposite side of the tree so it falls this way. So for now, I am going to place down a task that makes sure not to grab the trees that are in the back. So like this. Yeah, that's pretty good. No. Yes, okay, good. There. And then I should probably... I should probably put... the stockpiles like outside. Like we'll have an area outside like this, and then we'll also have another area that'll be for defending the crystal. So like something like this. That's kind of centered, right? Right, okay. I'll put a door here. Probably put a door here too, just so it matches the travel path. Maybe it makes more sense to do this like that. Okay. Good. Since resources are going to be scarce, well, iron and brimstone is going to be scarce, I'm going to start a quarry right now. Because the sooner we can reach the minerals underground, the better. And I'm not going to make it too wide so they can get through the crust early game. Also, which brimstone is closer? I think this one is closer. So we're going to go get that brimstone. We're going to go get the iron that's over there. This is going to be an interesting map. Definitely an interesting map to play. I put it on the workshop. It's called the Barren Lands, but I would wait until after the stream because I might make some modifications to it. Okay, any plant fiber. We have to be really careful not to lose any plant fiber because I made plant fiber super rare. There's some over here. There's some over there as well. Not much. There are some cactuses over there. Which is like, okay, we'll get those. Is there any more plant fiber nearby? There's some over there. I'm going to leave that for later. Some over there. Okay. Yeah, Larkiden, I saw that on Discord. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. You should send us your save file and logs on support.castlestory.net so I can take a look at it myself. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm getting text messages. My idea is to add tracks and carts and a push cart. Push cart, take 2 birch to operate tracks, take iron and wood. Push carts take just wood, and carts take wood and brimstone for lamps. That's a pretty good idea, Nitrogen. That is actually a pretty good idea. The ways of transporting resources from one spot to the other have been something that we've always wanted to add to Castle Story, but it's not as simple as it seems. Yeah, sorry about that, Nitrogen. We really need to focus on our new game for now. I'm going to lock this task and have my Bricktrons make some furnaces instead. Yeah, Invasion has an end now. You can reach wave 60 and you win. What do you guys think about the shape of my map so far? I kind of like it. Ooh, this kind of makes me dizzy. Ooh, okay. Oh, that kind of made me dizzy. All right, we have a furnace now. We'll be able to make some iron ingots, hopefully, if my Bricktrons... There you go. I've got Mag Warrior here going to grab some brimstone and Porus getting some iron. We're definitely going to need to dig into that quarry. Thank you so much for the follow, Baron Polsky. Appreciated. Thank you, Larkiden. I'm glad you like Castle Story. Fan predictions are currently at 15. 15 what? Needs more hills. I thought about that, but I kind of want it to be a barren desert-ish kind of place. I don't know, maybe it just right now it feels like this center area is empty, but that's intentional. I want it to be empty. I want you to feel like you're in a big barren desert, you know? Maybe I'll put a little rune here or somewhere just to fill in the gap. Okay, hey, we actually have a nice amount of plant fiber. It's not too bad. We're gonna make a loom. Let's make a loom here. Also, I have to be careful how much wood I spend because we don't have that many trees. Actually, I might not run out of trees very quickly. We want to not be wasteful, basically. I'm going to increase the priority on the quarry. Just by 1. Also, we're going to need a workbench, of course. Some weapon racks, which I will put inside of the fortress. There we go. Ooh, plant fibers. Got to be careful how many plant fibers we're going to... How we're going to use the plant fibers. I'm not going to just... Here, I'm going to make 3 of each for now. Not spam it. How much is Mirador? Do you have a set price? We do have a set price. It's not announced yet, but if you take a look at the Kickstarter, you can probably guess. It's kind of like a butterfly, sadly more squished. All right. Oh, hey, look at that. That's pretty lucky. We found some brimstone and iron right on top of the quarry. That's really lucky. That is really cool. 8 minutes until the next wave should give me plenty of time to do what I need to do before getting attacked. I'm playing on normal, so I need like maybe 1 archer and 1 halberdier. Should be good. I think we'll be able to build a row bridge here. If not, I'm going to want to fix that. Ooh, okay. I'm definitely going to want to fix that. Because this island is too high for row bridges, so we'll fix that. What about here? Hey, why can I not build one here? Huh, well that's weird. Ooh, that's why. Wait, no, I don't know why. Huh, oh, wait, I can... Oh, is it too close? Oh, it's too close. I thought it would be too far. But no, it's too close. Huh. Okay. So I need to fix that. And I need to fix this. This one too. But wait, I don't know why this one doesn't work. I think it's maybe a notch too high. Just a little, just like 1. Okay. This one here works. Yeah, this is fine. Okay. Oh, hey, look at that. We have some iron ingots already. I wonder if I should waste any iron on making halberdiers, or if I should directly go to knights. I think knights will be a worthy investment. Let's make knights. Let's make knights and archers. I'll make 3 archers and a knight. This is really lucky. The quarry. I made the quarry small on purpose so I can dig deeper faster. Because they will always finish the entire first layer and then the second layer and then the third layer. So if your first layer is small, they'll reach the deeper layers quicker. Also, look at all that juicy iron and brimstone right here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stairs up like that just to get those as much of that iron and brimstone as I can. Ooh, we can spawn a Bricktron. Data, not data. Data. I think there's too much iron and brimstone. I might literally just straight up remove all the iron and brimstone from the surface. Maybe. Is that iron? No, that's stone. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna... Ooh, let me cancel the remove stones from that tunnel task. Did you guys know, little pro tip? For the tunnel and quarry, you can click them, and here at the bottom you can disable stone, so that way they'll just they'll discard the stone. The stone will disappear, and they only bring back the iron and the brimstone, which is pretty useful. Hi, Jord. I've been good. How have you been? Any chance to have more than 15 Brictrons? You can edit the game files to get more than 15 Brictrons, but I don't advise it because your game will start lagging. The game will get too easy if you have too many Brictrons. It was balanced around having 15 Brictrons. But you can mod it into files pretty easy. It's just a number that you change. If you just Google it, Bricktron, Castle Story Bricktron cap, you'll find a bunch of threads that tell you how to change it. The brimstone I feel is okay, but less iron. I think both. I think there's too much of both. Cause see, I can just go get this stuff here too. I want it to feel scarce. I want it to feel like dang, I really don't have a lot of resources. I need to be careful with my resources, because right now it doesn't feel like that. Huh, what kind of door are we going to use? Are we going to use a rickety door that uses only wood? But wood is hard to get right now. Maybe... Because, yeah, the rickety door is nice for quick builds. Maybe reinforced door once and for all. They're going to destroy it eventually. Reinforced doors uses too much iron. I'm actually surprisingly not too worried about iron and... Actually... Okay, let's go with the regular door for now. Also, let us make... I should have left some room for that, but let's make some ramparts. Here and here. Like that. Oof. Wait, oh, that is way too much wood. We're only gonna have one width. Just so my archers have a place to go and fight. I'm gonna put one on either sides. Actually, you know what? That might be a little foolish what I'm doing here. Huh. I'm gonna try something here. Let me try a ramp. Huh, that might work. That might actually work. Wait, what? Oh. Yeah, that'll work. I like that. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to block the door. Thank you so much for the follow, Cyber Explorer. How's it going? Alright, we're gonna need... I'm gonna want to not waste any... There you go. Like, if I don't need those braces, I don't want to build them. I really do not want to waste any resources whatsoever. Well, especially wood. Stone is like whatever, you know, we have plenty of stone. I'm actually thinking... No, I'm going to leave it that way. I'm worried that my archers won't be able to shoot down from there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely worried about that. Let's not do it that way. Hold on. Bertrands, please don't build. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. We're gonna want this to be one extra height. We're just gonna do it that way. It's... Whoop, wrong shortcut. There we go. Nope, don't need that brace. Only one layer of planks. That should do it for now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bad guys incoming. Bad guys incoming. 30 seconds. I should be good. I have... Yeah, we'll be good. We'll be more than fine. I'm like not even worried. Hello. Oh, I heard the ground breaking from here. I'm not sure where they are. I'm glad I made knights. Knights are a good investment. On normal mode, because you can make them so quickly. Ah, there they are. Come on, you little gremlins. Charge! Oof, they're throwing rocks! Nice. Nice, easy wave. I think I can probably reach wave 10 on easy. On normal, I mean. This is normal, not easy. I'm not playing easy. We're gonna want stairs as well. Let's put the stairs right here. Like this. Yes, I like it. I like it. Those are some nice stairs. However, I don't want to block the possibility of ramparts going over there. Ooh, would I be able to go... Ooh, I might be able to do that. Oh, wait, I could have spared... I could save a lot of wood. Actually, hold on. I could save a lot of wood, I think. Guys, why did no one tell me? I can save a lot of wood by, oof. Do I have the weird bug with the, I think I do. With the brace, I do. Okay, doesn't matter. I can save a lot of wood by using, plug bricks. So plug bricks are those bricks that have a hole in them for you to put braces in, or not just braces, but, whatchamacallem? Beams. Sorry. For some reason I couldn't remember the word beams. Do you ever just forget how to say a word? Or what a word is? Okay, so plug bricks. Now I'm not very good with plug bricks, but I'm sure I can figure it out. I believe in myself. That way we'll save a lot of wood, although we've already wasted some. It's okay. It happens. It happens to the best of us. So I'm not actually sure how many I need. Thank you so much for the follow, Irregularity. Thank you. See, that way I can do that. That's pretty cool. See, we're saving lots of wood that way. I'm gonna put them as far as I possibly can. Okay, see, that's too far. Is there a hotkey for it? Yeah, it's U for the plug brick. And then N. There we go. So what's the distance? 4. So I can put them 4 apart and it'll still work. This one here won't work, but that's okay because I'll do this. And then, ooh, oh no. Oh noes. Huh. We're gonna need a little extra one here. That's okay. We'll just do it. But, no, hold on. That's not okay. Because then I won't be able to. There we go. I won't be able to cover the top of the door. But now I've got an issue with this one here. This gap. I guess we'll do this. Do it the lazy way. I like being lazy. Can I replace this one with another one, maybe? I think we're gonna need one here no matter what. Ah, hold on. I can remove this one. I can put one here. Would that be good enough? I don't think so. No, it won't. It will not be good enough. Neither will this actually. Oh, actually, okay. This is kind of... This is working out better than I had expected it would. Okay, we still got the issue with this one here. I guess we're just gonna need 2. Too bad. Not a big deal. Okay. And then... I can have one here. Oh, wait. I'm gonna need one here, too. Oh, hold on a sec. I can just do this to extend it. I could have saved even more. Ah, I could have saved even more. Oof. I could have saved more. Here, let me save this piece of plank here. Hey, come on now. That should work. Alright, that won't work. I'm still gonna need... Alright. Vertrons, I need you to build. Are we gonna get attacked anytime soon? Oh, what are we out of? We're out of iron. Let's go get the iron that's over there. Starting to feel the need. The lack of resources is starting to make itself noticed. There's some iron up here if I can build some stairs. Ooh, I could build some stairs over there too. Looks pretty easy to reach. Some stairs or a tunnel would be even better. Yep. Let's do that. And if I just disable everything but iron and brimstone, it should be pretty quick. And then I should be able to get that stuff pretty quickly. Let's increase priority on this task. Wow, I have lots of brimstone. Okay, so too much brimstone and the island bridges. The islands can't be bridged. Thank you so much, Scorpion. I appreciate the follow. Oof, I have so much iron. I mean brimstone, I have some on the floor. We're gonna spawn Janice over there. We're gonna make another rope and fabric. We have enough plant fiber for both. It'll let us make another archer. Can't you use supports on the plugs? What do you mean? Not spend any wood at all just by placing stone bricks perpendicular to the wall. Yeah, but that increases it by 1 extra level. We don't want to do that. That's ugly. What about my OCD? I don't actually have OCD. I shouldn't, we tend to joke about OCD, but I bet people that actually have OCD probably don't like that. So, hello, Luggy. Thank you for the follow. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put that here. There we go. And then we just need one more. I think I can just make a long one here. Yes! Excellent. Excellent. Cool. Nice little fortress. Let's put a repair task here in case Corruptrons come over and slap us around a little. How's that quarry coming along? Nothing there anymore? Screw it, it ain't worth it anymore. Let's make a new one. Let's go, Breaktrons! Ooh, the stairs are being made. Actually, that's good. That's good. The tunnel here. They're completing the tunnel. We're getting some iron and brimstone. Some extra iron and brimstone. Whew. How many iron ingots? You need 5 iron ingots for a night kit? Gee whiz. Alright. Alright. Should I make a couple of halberdiers? That is a lot of iron. Well, iron ingots, that is. Hey, what you doing? You getting that iron up there? Maybe forget about it. Yeah, I don't want that anymore. I don't want that. Well, this task here is complete. You should occasionally clean up your tasks. There's some iron right here, boys. Let's go. Let's go, Bricktroons. Alright, there we go. Now we've reached the iron and the brimstone. Uh-oh. Getting attacked soon. Getting attacked soon. Hey, Janice. You be a knight. Hey, Quebec. You be a knight, too. Hey, Poros. You be an archer. Hey, where you going? Snafu, I need you to be an archer, too. Mirabay, you be an archer, too. Data, you're going to be an archer too, most likely, as soon as you drop that stuff in. Magwar, be an archer. Oh, never mind. We only have room for one more archer. Okay, what's this wave? 3 Corruptrons. Easy. Marauders, just the regular ones. Where are they coming from? I'm a little worried. Okay, for this... For those trees now, I need to get the ones that are on the inside that won't fall off the edge. And here come the Corruptrons. Charge! Ooh. Ooh, they split up. Delayed assault. Too delayed, Mr. Corruptron. Too delayed. You're in trouble now. Uh-oh. No, you better not destroy that door. That costs iron. Thank you. Just sort of froze there. What the heck? Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, let's get the wood without any risks of of trees falling. Alright, back to work. Hey! That tunnel is complete. We don't need that brimstone here when we have the one that's over there. There's too much brimstone. We have too much brimstone on the map. So reduce the brimstone and maybe reduce the iron too. Actually, I'm going to reduce both types of resources. What I'm not going to reduce is the plant fiber though, because that is rare as heck. I cannot find any plant fiber. Oh, there's some plant fiber over there. I'm going to have to save this plant fiber to make ropes, and I'm going to use the ropes to make bridges. Because, like, I need bridges. Oh, wait, we could tunnel up there and get some more plant fiber. Ooh, yes, I like that idea. I like that idea, Mr. Chatajon. Or we could do this, too. Since we have plenty of rocks. Yeah, let's do that. It'll be quicker than digging a tunnel. Alright, what am I doing wrong here? Ooh, I know what I'm doing wrong. They won't be able to build that. So the reason they can't build this here is because if the Britron stands on top of the stairs, the first thing they can build is either this, because they can't reach the plug to build it. And since they can't build the plug, they can't build the beam. And since they can't build the beam, they can't build the planks. Sometimes it might seem like Brictrons are really frustrating or the AI doesn't work or something like that, but a lot of the times it can be because of something like that. I'm not saying the AI is false. I'm just saying sometimes it's not. It's not the Bertrand's fault. Hey, Irregularity. This dude said my name without issues. Props. Hey! If we can't joke about things that are awful, we won't get through the day. True that. True that. That is really weird, Pedro, because I had a player translating the game in Chinese that had the same issue, and it's because his file was encoded in some weird thing that was in UTF-8. Just make sure your file is encoded in UTF-8 and it should work. Good job. Data. Good job. Now we can get all that good, juicy plant fiber. So I'm going to have plant fiber now, but when my units start to die, it's going to be trouble. Because I won't have any more plant fiber to replace them. Oh yeah. It's gonna be tough. Also, I'm probably gonna want to save... Oh, you know what? I could use all this brimstone to make some glass ingots. Man, we have so much brimstone, almost no iron. I love how the desert, what color the desert gets when it's midday. Also, look at that creepy moon in the distance. Have you guys ever noticed that? Have you guys ever noticed the moon? How creepy it is? For those who are just joining us, hello, welcome. We are Sauropod Studio. We are the creators of this game called Castle Story that is available on Steam. It's a fun little game. Should definitely check it out. And we are currently working on a new game called Mirador. You can find a link to the Mirador Kickstarter in the chat right now if you'd like to check it out and support us. If you've already supported us, maybe you could send a link to your friend. Also, if you own Castle Story on Steam, it would be wonderful if you left a review on Steam. It would be super, super, super nice. Change that top layer to perpendicular bricks. No need for plugs for wood. Perpendicular bricks? You mean like this? But then it'll look weird and ugly. I don't like that. The moon is really strange. The moon has a crater in it. A corrupted crater. Oh, we have some iron now. Good. Thanks to Quebec. Man, I love Quebec. It's my province. Maybe I don't want to make that many stockpiles because, yeah, wood is... We're like on our last layer of wood here. And I'm pretty scared. I think we're going to start micromanaging the lumberjack. So we're going to put the Bricktron on the opposite side of where we want the tree to land. And then you chop it down. That way the tree should land away from... No! 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 The what? Okay, I guess it falls in a random place. Rip my wood. No! Stop! Why do you do this to me, game? Maybe we should remove the stumps. Damn. What? Dang, that really sucks. Can you take this? Yes, precious wood. Don't lose the precious wood. Hey, Sauropod, do you need a 3D artist? You could check out our website, sauropodstudio.com, and you can apply through there. Right now, I don't think we're hiring artists. We're pretty tight budget-wise. I heard something about outsourcing recently just to accelerate the creation of assets. I really couldn't confirm or deny anything. You really should... Oh, pick it up quickly. You should send an application on surpotstudio.com. Murdor takes place on Castle Story's moon. You know, recently we were discussing that we should have some Castle Story Easter eggs in Murdor. And I suggested that we should have, like, just a Bricktron. Oh, I think I already told you in the last stream. Come on, Wood. Good. That we should have a, just a Bricktron that's, like, stuck. Like, you only see the feet. The feet, you know, like, you know what I mean. Like, stuck underground like that, and you only see the feet. Like, little Bricktron feet coming out of the ground. And then if you interact with it, it says Mob on top. as a wink to the fan animation that somebody made a long time ago. Look at all that brimstone and all that iron, all these iron ingots actually. I'm gonna make one more night kit and then we're gonna start investing in an altar. You're cheap and you work hard. Oh man, don't undervaluate your value. I know that it's really tough getting into the gaming industry. Trust me, I know firsthand how difficult it is to get in the gaming industry. But it's a bad idea, I think. I'm not an artist, so maybe I'm talking out of my butt. But I think it's not a good idea to devaluate your work. Because sometimes people can think that cheap is synonymous with lower quality. And because you deserve better. I know making art for a living is super hard, but that doesn't mean you should take less than what you're worth. Okay, let's make... I have a lot of plant fiber, actually. I'm surprised. Huh, okay. Let's make some rope. I think there's still too many resources on the surface. Maybe not plant fiber. Maybe plant fiber is like... If you want to last long, you're going to need at least a little bit of plant fiber. But, yeah. I'm going to make some... I'm definitely going to make some sentinels to help out. Since I have the iron ingots... Oh, those are not iron ingots. Whoops. Those are glass ingots. Yups. Okay, we're not going to make 4 of these. We're only going to make 2. I find Envision a bit slow, but I find my ways to change it into Chaos. Hey, Luigi, you should play hard because it's quicker, or you can also modify the files to make your own preset. It's really easy. You could make your own... Oh, that Bricktron is really angry. You can make your own preset that makes it considerably... it's really easy to make your own preset, and you can make it as difficult as you want. You can, like decide how long between waves. You can decide... how more difficult the waves get between one wave and the other. You know, you've got a lot of control like that. Just look up on Google custom Castle Story preset. Oof, what are you doing? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Poros. My bad. I shouldn't have interrupted you. I need you to arm up. I need you to arm up, buddy. What are y'all doing? Quebec! I need you to arm up! Thank you. Quickly. Oh, you know what? I have 3 knights and a bunch of archers. Should be fine. I'm not too worried. I'm about to have a sentinel too. Where should we put the sentinels? I say we place them... Maybe one here. And one... Oh, wait. No, let's put them next to the doors. Because that's where the corruptions are going to come, right? So let's put one here. One here. Should be good for now. Uh-oh, here they come. Here they come! Oh no, they're trying to destroy the door. Stop them! Stop, you miscreant! Alright, you know what? I don't need to turn more workers into militants. For now, this is just fine. Oh, this is fine. Oh yeah. We got this. We got this, lads. Is that it? No, wait. That's not it. That's not it. There's more. But wait, there's more. Actually, you know what? You can just... No, just... Did you archers take all the slots? That is so mean. Come here. Hey, come here. You can't take both the racks. Alright, Marbay, I need you to stick around and kill that Corruption. Hey, new Bertrand. Hello, Kruta. Welcome. Oh, okay. So, Kruta is not in a good mood. Maybe 1 or 2 more nodes / clusters of fibers as it feels too rare. I kind of want it to be rare. That's the point. See, right now there's some over here I could get. There is some over here I could get. There's some over there. See, it's not that rare. It's just that you're going to have to work for it. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to let you guys playtest it. And then you'll tell me if it's too hard. I don't think it'll be too hard. I think it'll be challenging. Like hard, but not too hard. Which is good. I like it. I like it that way. I think it's kind of cool. Let's make another knight kit. See, so far I'm not struggling to make military units. Is this task locked? It should be. Let's lock it. Let's also build a weapon rack right about... Yeah, I guess I'll put it here. I love how the brimstone glows in the distance. It's like, ooh, there's something going on there. Ooh, we have 4 sentinels, almost, I think. I'm gonna put the 2 sentinels next to each other, actually. Let those corruptions come! If they dare. Actually, I'm gonna set them at opposite sides like that. How much do you get? How much do you get paid for this voiceover of Bertrand? Is there a way to remove the map limit in Map Creator to build extra large maps? Good question, Curiously. I don't know. You're going to want to post that on Discord, or better yet, open a support ticket, and that way I won't forget to answer, or I won't miss your message. You could also post it on Discord and tag Sam Hain. He should know. He's one of the developers. He's pretty active on the Discord. I think he worked on the world editor. He could answer that. Ah, more resources here. Nice. Maybe I should get rid of the iron and the brimstone altogether. You can only find it underground. Or make the nodes like super small. What do you think? Because look at all that brimstone I have. It's supposed to be... Resources are supposed to be rare. They're not very rare right now. Look at how much I'm finding. Let's make some glass ingots, I get. Actually, no, I'm not gonna waste resources if I don't need them. Mine shafts map. Oh, that's right. You can make tunnels too for resources. I don't think you'll run out of iron or brimstone. At least not too quickly. Iron maybe, but look at all that brimstone. I always end up with too much brimstones in my games. Oof. Ugh. Gotta stretch a little. I have some fabric. I need rope. Oh wait, no, I don't need rope. I have rope. Don't touch the rope. Let's make a rope bridge. Where? Here? Do I need to fix this? I think I might... yeah, I might need to fix this. I'm not sure why it's broken, but I'll figure it out. I could make a rope bridge here. Hey, come on now. Ah, there we go. I can make a rope bridge. Just not like there. I don't know why I can't make a rope bridge there. It's so weird. I'll build rope bridges there. It'll unlock eventually the ability to get that iron, brimstone, and all that juicy, juicy plant fiber that I desperately want. Let's maybe make a machine shop. I think a machine shop would be a good investment right now. It's only 2 iron ingots, so you know, that's not too bad. Also, let's destroy this piece of stair here. Put up a cleanup task. to clean up the fallen bricks when they do fall. There you go. Oh no, he's gonna fall! Kuta's gonna fall! Okay, you're good. Wait a second. The repair task is trying to have me build the bricks back. But I don't want that. There we go. Good stuff. We are out of stockpiles, but that's fine. I want my Bertrands to start using up the resources. Oh, hey, is there plant fiber up there too? I think so, a little bit. We're gonna want to build some stairs up here too. So let's do something like this. Or better yet, we can use the spiral stairs. Oh no, it's too high. Oh no, it's too far. Okay. Let's do this differently. Let's start it from the top. Oh wait, that never works. I forgot. Oh, this is gonna be tricky. I got this though. I got this. I got this. Nope, I don't got this at all. Spiral staircases are hard to start from the top. I don't think you can actually. Someone correct me if I am wrong. You know what? That should be fine. We'll be able to jump up there. It'll be fine. We have 2 more minutes before bad things happen. Wait, where's the rope? Y'all, where is the rope? Oh, it's right there. Shoot. Let's make more. We require additional rope. I guess we can make a stockpile, but we don't have wood. Uh-oh. Let's go get some wood from here. We'll get the safe wood first, the one that doesn't risk falling off. Although all wood risks falling off. You never know when wood will fall off. Wood does as wood pleases in Castle Story. The trees have a mind of their own. Alright. Alright, tree. You better be nice and fall from the other side. No! No, that's the... Yes. Yes. Good tree. Good tree. Block it, Delta. Good. Good, 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 good. Alright, come on. Come on. No, no, no. Hey, at least we saved 1 log. No! I guess we didn't save anything. Alright, I got this. I got this. Come on. No, 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 Data. I want you to... You know, I want you to mine that tree from this side. Darn. Come on. Please. Please. Okay. Good. Good, 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 good. Okay, now this one, and then let's arm up. Uh-oh. 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 No! Take it, save it! Yes, good. Good save, good save, good save, good save. No! Darn. This is really hard. Alright, Bertrands, I don't want you to say you have nothing to do because things are about to go down. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Come on now. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, Bertrands, 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 we're about to be attacked. We are at risk of war. Now's not the time to do that, Janice. It's very nice of you to want to help the squad out. But we've got like 7 Corruptrons coming up. You know what? 7's not too much. I'm not too worried about 7 Corruptrons. We got this. Yep, we definitely got this. Don't let him reach the, no, no, do not let him reach the wall. Do not let him reach the wall. Uh-oh, not good. They're trying to destroy the door. Don't let them. Is that it? No, there's one more. Is there only one more? Alright, you're gonna be out on the hunt. Marbay. Where is that extra Corruptron at? I like that Surpod has a low budget, but they are open to help with mods and changes in the game fall since they can't update the game. Thank you, Luigi. I mean, we're just, you know, we're just a small indie studio. We're just trying to make games. We're pretty chill. We're pretty chill people. We like video games too, and we get angry when game developers do bad things. So we try not to do bad things. I'm not saying we haven't made mistakes, but we do try very hard not to do bad things. Maybe I should, yeah, I should be using an archer to scout. They move a lot quicker. They move so much quicker. We need more stockpiles. Okay, let's make some cogs. And let's make some... What do I need here? I need rope. And then let us make some arbalists. But for that, we're going to need a board. I mean, a weapon rack. So let's get a weapon rack going on here. I think the map is too easy right now. There's too much brimstone and maybe even too much iron. Maybe even, there's too much of all the resources. It's not scarce enough. Oh no, we're full of stockpiles again. Wait, why are you Bricktrons not building? Why are you Bricktrons not building the sentinels? Is there an issue? You should be able to go up there. No, you should be able to build them. Oh, that's the rope bridge as well. I see. I see. Wait, no, I don't see. Why won't they build this? Oh, those are healing wards, not sentinels. Jesus. Jesus. Although a healing ward is not a bad idea, now that I think about it. I like the idea of placing a couple of healing wards. Like maybe one here by this door and then one by this door. That way we can stand at the doors and fight. I like that idea. I can't believe we have too much brimstone. That's crazy. Could you allow to create new classes on the Steam Workshop? Nathan, that would be very awesome. But right now we are completely, entirely invested in our new game, Mirador, which we are working on right now. It's a boss game, but the bosses are created by other players, so you get to create bosses and fight bosses, which is pretty cool. You get loot and stuff. I put a link in the chat if you want to check it out. Is 50,000 bricks in one world too much? I'm not sure, Gano Gaming. I think bricks don't actually take that much performance. It's the blueprints that take calculations. But bricks, when they're in the game, they're pretty much the same as voxels. And voxels, as you can tell, we have a lot of them in the world. The engine can handle them a lot. So I don't think actual built bricks is problematic for performance. But the blueprints can be. Because the Bricktrons have to, you know, take all blueprints in consideration when pathfinding and whatnot. All right, all right, all right. I think we have everything we need to make these. Bridges over there. We can grab these cactuses for plant fiber. Let's do that. Oh, my Bertrons have started building the stairs. That's good. That is muy bueno. I do not speak Spanish at all. I don't even know why I try. I've got some brimstone and some iron over there. Yeah, I think there's too many resources. I think there shouldn't be iron or brimstone on, you know, as crystals at all. Maybe a little bit of brimstone, but no iron. Maybe like a dot or two of iron, just so people understand that we didn't forget to add them on the map. It's just that we intentionally didn't put them. But yeah. I have a lot of bricks, too. Maybe we should build outposts. Or maybe we should thicken the wall. Oh yeah, let's thicken the wall. Thicken. I like that word. Hey, what can I say? I like the word thicken. I think Corruptrons can spawn here, so this might be a bad idea what I'm doing. You know what? I'm not scared of no Corruptrons. Corruptrons can kiss my butt. Let them come. We fear no Corruptrons. We are the brave Bricktrons. Let's go all the way down there. Like this. Excellent. We'll put a door here. We'll put a door like here too, probably. Actually, maybe not here. Maybe this is a bad place for a door. Maybe like here instead would be a smarter place for a door. And then, are we ever gonna go there? Yeah, let's put a door here too. Alright, Bricktrons, get to building. Have no fear. Chateau Jaune is here. And I shall get us to victory. Did somebody make popcorn in the studio? It smells like popcorn. Smells good. Although my nose has been clogged. Do you guys feel like I'm speaking more from the nose than usual? Because it feels like my nose has been clogged for the past like week or so. And I don't know why. It's kind of driving me crazy because sometimes it feels like I can breathe, sometimes it feels like I struggle to breathe from the nose. Which is weird. Very strange. Excellent. Build, Bricktrons, build, I say. Trees prevent a block. Yeah, I know, I saw. That's why I told the Bricktrons to delete it. There we go. I mean, to destroy it, not delete it. To delete it. Bricktrons, I'm gonna need you to delete this real quick. Delete this! You guys ever heard that Gary's Mod meme? Okay. What do we need? Oh, wow. Okay, we actually don't need much. Do I have any iron ingots? I don't have iron, so I don't have iron ingots. So I need iron. Let us get some iron from... That is not an iron task, but good try. Solid try, Chateau Jaune. You were close. It was a cleanup task. Let's get some iron from there. Let us maybe start to build stairs over here, just so we can go get the iron that's over there, too. Ooh, we can get the iron that's over there, too. Haha. Yeah, I think there's too much of all resources. A little bit too much. Bricktrons now have a delete button to delete things from the... Oh, wait, we're under attack. We're about to get attacked. What am I doing? What am I doing? 2 arms! Oh, that's still just 7 Corruptrons. Easy business. Yo, man's Chateau Jaune's not worried. Hey, you should be an Arbalest instead. Arbalists are way cooler. They're like totes, McDotes, super cool. Alright, Corruptrons. I am ready to fight you. As a matter of fact, I will come meet you for this combat. Yes. Yes, we are coming to kill you, Corruptrons. We do not fear. Ooh, are they trying to dig their way in, like, make a shortcut here? No, okay. Easy. Easy. I remember a time when archers could damage friendly units. You have to be real careful. You can still toggle that on in the settings, by the way, if you're interested. Well, not in the settings, but in the files. You can modify some files. Uh-oh, hello, Corruptron. Looks like the Corruptron's built an outpost up there. Oh, are you digging my brimstone? That's mean. Kill it! Kill that Corruptron. End it. Alright, now where's that last Corruptron? There's one more Corruptron somewhere, and I don't know where. It's hiding somewhere. Huh. Okay. I don't really know where that Corruptron could be. Alright. The army's coming back to the outpost. Fierce warriors. Fierce and fearsome. Army of Homer Simpson. They don't look like Homer Simpson. Raphael, you think there's too much brimstone but not iron? I think there's... You're right. Maybe you're right about the iron. But yeah, you're right about the iron. See, I'm already out of iron. I agree. When the waves start getting more and more difficult, it's going to be tougher. But I mean, yeah, I'll get rid of some of the iron. I'll leave the plant fiber, because plant fiber is like, that's all the plant fiber you're ever going to get. But I'll fix the iron, and I will fix the maps here, and I will put the map on the workshop. Oof! Did you Bricktrons really throw those 2 ropes over there on the ground? Can you not? Literally, we have like, plant fiber is like super tough to get. What are you doing? No. Come on, guys. You can't be doing that. Pick that up. Pick it up. Hey, pick up that rope. Thank you. Jeez. Y'all Bricktrons are mad wasteful. Come here, you two. What do you have in your pack, McGuire? What is that? A stone? We don't need no stone. We were literally on an island made of stone. I want y'all to go and pick that stuff up. Jeez, Bricktroons. Ooh, I like how the circle appears directly inside. Did you guys notice that? Kind of satisfying. Look at that. It's like, look at how satisfying that is. Oh my god. Look at that. The circle, like, you know the little blue circle that appears when you right click? If you right click on a rope coil, it appears directly in the center. Oh, that is so satisfying. Sorry, okay. My little moment. Hi, Sadiorangray. This is Invasion on a map that I am working on right now just for funsies. I'm trying to make a map where the resources are super scarce. I didn't do a very good job at it because there's a lot of brimstone. Like way too much brimstone. Let's get the boulders over here because why not? Boulders are nice. We're gonna need some stone anyways. Bow, 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 bow. General Shot Zone and 9 Homer Simpsons. Hey man, the Bricktrons do not look like Homer Simpsons, okay? No, they don't. They absolutely do not. Do we want to make... Okay, this is what we're... I've made a huge mistake. I should have built the... Oh wait, no, it's not too late to fix. It's not too late to fix. Alright, you guys might be wondering what I'm doing or why I'm doing this, okay? I have a plan. Okay, you just gotta trust. You gotta trust Chatajon that he has a plan. Because I have a plan. Now, don't you tell me, but you're wasting stone. We don't care about that. We have, like, a lot of stone everywhere. But basically, check this out real quick. But basically... Alright, Bricktrons, I don't know why you're building the big wall. I want you to build this one instead. Let's go. Let's go, Bricktron. Oh, hold up, hold up. We're not going to make this door. That's wasteful. We're going to make a rickety door. It's just wood. Although wood is also difficult to find right now. That's okay. We've got 15 planks. That's plenty, right? No, it's not at all. but that's all right. We'll go get the wood that's over here. Look at that big chonker of a tree. Dang, look at this big chonker of a tree right there with its baby trees next to it. All right, so Bricktrons, you're gonna build that. Come on, come on. Only asking one thing of you today. Just build that. Also, we're gonna make a quarry over there, so 2 things I'm asking of you today. Excellent, good, good, good. Hey, Marbay, your job is gonna be to move those archer kits in here. Who knows what I'm doing right now? I'm gonna teach you a trick. So I have arbalest kits and archer kits, right? But I want that when I call to arms, I want my Bricktrons to go for the arbalest kits, not the archer kits. So instead of destroying the weapon rack and the archer kits, because right now I'm playing a map where resources are really scarce, check this out. Check out Chatterjon the Genius. Maybe you didn't know this, but it is possible to hold right click on a door and lock it. And Bricktrons will have no way of getting in. See? So they won't, they can't get them. They can't get the archer kit. Now, I don't know if that'll sort of, they'll keep trying until you unlock the door, so that might be a bit of a problem, actually. That might not work. No, it's actually fine. They're going for the arbalest kits. Nice, good Bricktrons. Okay, I was joking though. You can put your stuff back. It was just a meme. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please get back to work. Pronto. Thank you. Pfft, silly Bricktrons. Taking me seriously. Pfft, should fire all of them. Okay, lads. We have about 45 minutes-ish left. I've got a pretty good feel of how the map plays. I want to fix some stuff and then put it on the workshop. And y'all are going to play this map. Okay? This weekend you're going to play the Barren Lands. And you will tell me on Discord. You're going to tag me at Chatterjon. You're going to be like, Chatterjon, I played your map Invasion on normal. And I lasted 25 waves. You know, I want to know how many waves you can survive. And what your thoughts are. Okay? Let's hop into the world editor. If you guys are looking for people to play Castle Story with, check out the Discord. Discord.gg/CastleStory. Alright, lads. Let's start by removing some of the brimstone that there is clearly too much of. I love that sound. I really love that sound. Okay. Okay. And then let's attack those bigger patches up there. The word editor is kind of relaxing. It chills me out. I like it. The size of the crystals doesn't matter, by the way. It's just one voxel is the same amount of brimstone. The size of the crystals is purely decorative. Hey, thank you for the follow. I like games. I like games too. So much in common. Okay, there we go. Now, the plant fiber I'm not gonna touch, because the plant fiber, when you run out, and that's it. Yeah. The iron, I'm gonna tone down the iron a notch, just a notch. Hey, simple guy. Hello, I like games. I did just start working on this map earlier today, yeah, and we just tested it out on stream. We're trying to make a map that is really, really hard because it doesn't have a lot of resources on it. And all the resources you have to work really hard to get. Actually, I'm gonna remove the iron from... no, I don't want to put iron... Actually, why not? There's an outcrop of iron that just popped up there. Why not? Screw the rules. I do what I want. Alright, let's put maybe a little drop of iron right there. Just to tease. Okay. We have some wood. Wood is gonna be kind of scarce too. Plant fiber is gonna be real tough. So, the issues that we were having with the map. I need to test this real quick. Let me save the bridges. Good, good, good. Play. We're gonna load up Sandbox. I want to leave at least some minimum of brimstone on the surface. I didn't put much. Nope, not a lot of trees, not a lot of anything. Can make a new map theme for Calcer, which could be themed like Mirador's Dungeons. Ooh, that's a pretty good idea. Although Mirador isn't in dungeons. The environments are on the surface of the planet. So maybe eventually there will be a dungeon environment. Actually, there was one that we were working on, but I don't think it's going to be on launch. Nice, thank you, Assista. That's really appreciated. If you guys own Castle Story on Steam and you haven't left a review yet, it would be really awesome if you leave a review for Castle Story. That would be really cool. Okay, I just want to check real quick. Which of these is not rope bridgeable? Okay, so with the small rune behind me, the one on the right doesn't row bridge. The one on the left row bridges on the wrong side. This here isn't supposed to be a row bridgeable area, but maybe I should make that clear. Okay. So this one doesn't row bridge, and this one row bridges on the wrong side. Let's fix that. Can I get a developer? What do you mean? To dit live. I work at Suripod Studio, if that's what you're asking. New board game is called Murder and Dungeons. Ooh. Is it like Dungeons and Dragons? Alright, so this one, row bridge is on the wrong side. So let me just fix that real quick. By doing, by doing this. And then we're just gonna cut in here. There we go. And then over here, we're gonna make it obvious that you can't bridge by also cutting in. There we go. This should work. This should also work. Now, what is the issue here, Mister? Mister, what is your problem? Let's try to reshape this island just a little bit. Just lower it, basically. Oof, wait, I could have done this a different way. Don't create, don't raise, only lower. There we go, I could have done it that way. Dang. Instead, I messed it all up. Nah, it's not that bad. It's all good. I feel like that should work. We'll test it and find out. Let me create an underside. Good. Save. Good. Go back in Sandbox and test it. Yes! Hello to Ditliv. I work at Sauropod Studio. I'm not a developer technically. I do the marketing and the communications and all that good stuff. But I can more than likely answer your questions. If I can't answer your question, I will go right now and get you a developer. Right here on stream, and they'll answer the question. Unless you meant as a joke, like you want to buy a developer. You want us to ship you a developer. Developers are human beings. Okay? Even indie devs have feelings. We've learned how to repress them and how to bottle up our frustration and our disgust of eating ramen noodles because we're poor. But we're still human beings. It was a joke. Yes, devs are humans. We make mistakes. We have feelings. When you go on chat rooms and forums and you cuss us out because we didn't add your favorite teacher, it hurts. We go back home and we're like, man, dang, that actually hurts, you know? It's like we worked all day long to make these people happy and they're angry at us. Okay. On a more joyous note, it seems like we fixed the rope bridge problem. Excellent. Excellent. Now I need to redecorate this island. I consider myself a machine that synthesizes ramen into art. Bethesda devs aren't human? Why? What makes you say that? That's not nice. What is your map, Red Moon? Alright, we're gonna like sort of make a little path looking thing here just so you get the hint that you can build there. Alright, not too many trees, not too much plant. Oof, that is too many plants. There you go. So you guys seem to think that even that's going to be too much brimstone? Like 2 little nuggets here. 2 little nuggets. Oof. 2 little nuggets there. Why are you giving me that many? Oh, because I have it set to 2. I feel like maybe we can have a canyon over here or something. Yeah, let me do that. So don't create, don't lower, only raise. Excellent. And then, if we want to be super cool, we can even add a bit of a... Actually, no, I don't want to add a detached island right now. It's gonna be more work. Good. That looks a little less empty. I want to put a rune here. I want to put a rune near the crystal. The rune of a tower. I'm going to show you guys how you add bricks to your castles, to your maps before you publish them. Would you like that? Yes, Chateau Jaune. We would love that, Chateau Jaune. Thank you so much. Okay, sure. Your problem. Jeez. No problem. Maybe that's too many trees too close, actually. Yeah, let's do something like that. And even maybe less. Just a tiny little bit of aloe vera. Just in case the Bertrands get some burns. What am I even saying? Let's put some boulders here. Alright, that's good. That's good. So check this out. I'm going to save this. I'm going to go to the workshop. Because I am not a good builder. So let's open up El Workshop. I'm scared. What is that, Red Moon? Ah, I remember that map. Okay. I just had to hide the screen in case you send me a picture of something that we don't want to show on stream. Some aloe vera just in case the cheddar boys melt in the heat. Jeez. Okay, I'm gonna grab... I'm gonna go into blueprints. And I'm gonna type... Ooh, those are some cool blueprints. Let's check out the popular ones. The popular blueprints of the last 3 months. Oh, Restodated made an outpost fort. I like it. Me likey. I'm gonna subscribe to that. Excellent. It's downloading currently. It just finished downloading. I'm gonna load up my map. My map in single player. Sandbox. Okay, the Barren Lands. Boom. Click play. I'm gonna leave it windowed like this. What is your favorite map for Sandbox? I like Plateau Mont Royal a lot. Or Big Island is a really impressive one. Can I be named after one of the Brictrons? I would have to edit the file and restart the game right now. It's too much effort. I like games. I can name you. You can be this Brictron. What do you want me to name this Brictron? I'll name him. What's your name? I like games. I'll see. I have a list, a to-do list over here that I had. You see, this is my to-do list. What is this to-do list? What does it say? Introduction video, social media, work in progress disclaimer. Oh, that was from the first Murdor stream we made. Okay, check this out. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna click on settings right here. You see right here where I'm clicking settings, that button here. And then I'm gonna click toggle debug behind the chat. And that's gonna, hold down. Okay, when you click that button, you see, it creates another button here. I can open that debug menu now and instant build mode. It says debug mode. That means any brick that I place down now will be instantly built. So I don't want it. Well, I can show you right here, for example. Boom. See? Magic. Now, I'm going to go to my blueprints. And it's not there. Why is it not there? Hello? Oh, I need to restart the game. Silly Chateau Jaune. I've been playing Keeper RL lately, guys. Anybody know that game? It's a really cool game. Okay. Can I be named after one of the Brictrons? Gromit, I need some cheese. Good mythical morning. Will it popsicle? Cheddar boys. What are you guys talking about? Too many games. I do have a lot of games. Wait, what? Oh, oof. Big oof. I just launched Mirador instead of Castle Story. Sorry about that. No, close. Thank you. Oof. I'm used to clicking Mirador lately because that's what we're working on. Sorry about that. Gromit, we are all out of cheese. They are not made of cheese, okay? Brictrons are golems. They're made out of stone. Squishy stone. You see, they're very squishy and very supple. They do a lot of yoga, but they're still made out of stone. Okay, so now I'm gonna load up my map in Sandbox. How many games? This is my work account, so all of those games are like shared with my real account. I think I have, I don't know. Hi, Cowboy. Sorry, I missed your hi. Let me see. How many, oof. You know what? I don't know. I think I have something like 400, 500, maybe, ish games. Let me check on my personal account. Oh, it's private right now and I'm not logged in. I don't know. Something like 400, maybe around that. Wouldn't they be like sponge? No, they're made out of stone. Magical stone that is squishy. Okay? When somebody touches Brictrons, they're squishy. But when no one's touching them, they're rock hard. Have you ever played or seen the game Forts? It rings a bell. I don't think I've played it, but it rings a bell. Isn't it like a bit cartoony? Yeah, I've seen this. I don't think I've played it though. Is it fun? It looks fun. Thank you so much for the follow, Jade Out. Can you name it Muiji? I think there's already a Bricktron called Muiji. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna turn on cheats like this, instant build mode. And then I'm gonna go into the blueprints. There it is, the outpost that Rooster Dainted made. Where is this rune gonna be? How about like here? It was built on the side of this road a long time ago, many moons ago. So it's not gonna build the wood or most of the wood, but I don't care about that. That's perfectly fine. I'm gonna let it finish. I only want the bricks. The wood didn't survive, or maybe some of the wood survived. There we go. Good, good. Now, I am gonna go ahead and destroy parts of it by removing the bottom bricks to structurally destabilize it, and then I hit delete on my keyboard when in instant build mode. The door is not gonna work, not gonna appear. So I don't want to remove so much that it's unrecognizable. I want it to be kind of a cool... looking fort, you know? There we go. That seems pretty good. I kind of regret I regret losing the windows. Let me start over because the windows looked so cool. There we go. Let's just rebuild this real quick. Did the team of Sauropod create the Cheese Boys? Oh my god. They're not Cheese Boys. They're Brictrons. They're made out of stone. Haven't you ever seen a Brictron die? They turn into stone. You guys are mean. Making fun of the the Brictrons. Alright, I'm gonna leave that part here. I'm gonna leave like a quarter of it, I guess. I'm gonna take out... I like this. Oh, wait, this is like an entrance. Oh, I should have rotated it before I built it. Oof! Big oof. Alright, hold up. Okay, this won't work. I need to start this over. We gotta do things right. Cheddartron is canon now. You cannot defeat us. Alright, once again, loading my map in Sandbox. Has everybody here who owns Castle Story on Steam, have you left a review on Castle Story? It is extremely helpful. Like, very helpful. Please do it. I read every single review that is ever posted. They're not Cheddartrons. Not made of cheese. They're not made of the moon. The moon is made of cheese, not Brictrons. You'll write one on cheese, go for it. Best game, it has cheese dudes. Okay. Attempt number 3, third time's the charm. Cheats on building task, load the blueprint, and place it right about here. Why not? Good. Excellent. Oh, the door didn't get built. Oh wait, yes it did. Alright, so we want to leave this entrance. I'm going to leave this side, and then a corner of this. So I'm going to remove these. How are you still standing up? Wait, I said these two sides and then this corner. So maybe I don't need both. There you go. I can do that. Good. That's pretty cool right there. We've got some runes. People were there in the past. Me likey. I want to decorate this a little bit. Okay, later on. So now to transfer this rune into the map, I'm going to save it as a save file. I'm going to name it Baron Rune 2. Save. I'm going to go back to the main menu. And now I'm going to open my Castle Story folder. To do that, find Castle Story in your Steam library, right-click Castle Story, go to Properties, Local Files, Browse Local Files. So there it is. Okay, now I have Castle Story right here. I'm going to go into Info, Saves, and I'm going to find it. Baron Rune 2, it's right there. You see it? Baron Rune 2. I'm going to open that, and I'm going to find a file called Placed Blocks. There it is, placedblocks.json. I'm going to copy that. And now I'm going to go back into Info, so Castle Story Info, Maps, UGC for user-generated content, Maps, and I'm going to find my map, which is this one, New Desert. I can double-check by opening the meta.json, and the name, it says the Barren Lands, good. And I'm going to paste the file that I just copied from my save file into my map file, overwrite it, and there we go, should be good. Now, if I open my map... Oh, wait. Always close the folder of your map. Always. Don't leave it open. Now, I'm going to open my map in the world editor. And the runes should be there. Like magic. Magic. Should we have an ASMR stream someday? Yay, there it is. Woo! Cool. Okay. Now, what else can I do to fine-tune this map a little bit, to pimp it up a little bit? Maybe just some you know, just some decoration like this, just some texturing. I don't know. I'm not very good at that. I'm gonna leave it like that for now. Maybe there's too much iron. I don't think so. Iron is always tough to get. Okay, so now I'm going to save this map. Update the thumbnail here a little bit. Wait, where's the monolith? Monolith, where are you? It's right there. There you go. How about a screenshot that looks like this? Ah, yes, that is nice. Good. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to publish it on the workshop. Tweaked resources and added a nice rune. Publish. And now the map is on the... Anytime now? Workshop. Yay. So I'm going to send you guys a link to this. And If you want to, play it. Play it and then let me know on Discord how long you survived and on what difficulty. This is an invasion. Invasion map. Play to your heart's content. Now, before ending the stream, I would like to give all of you guys a super quick sneak peek at, if you haven't seen it yet, our upcoming game that we're working on. It's called Mirador. And Mirador is a top-down hack and slash roguelite where you'll be fighting sentinel after sentinel. That's what we call the bosses in Mirador. So boss fight after boss fight. And this is a development build that I'm using here. So actually give me a quick. Hello. There we go. You can still hear me. Okay, good. Testing. Good. So Mirador is a top-down hack and slash that we have been working on for quite a while now. And it is a game where you will be fighting a boss fight after boss fight after boss fight. And every time you kill a boss, or a sentinel is what we call them, you get loot. And with that loot, you can build your own boss to send it out there so it can fight other players and also get you loot when it defeats other players. Obviously, everything you see is like a big work in progress. This is the Citadel. This is like your safe haven. This is where you're going to be working on your gear, crafting stuff, building your sentinels, stuff like that. I'm going to put a link to the Kickstarter of Mirador in the chat. If you're interested, please check it out. We would very much like it if you checked it out. The Kickstarter is about halfway through. We need all the help we can get, so send a link to the game, to the Kickstarter, to your friends and family. Maybe post it on Twitter, on Facebook, on your Discords and stuff like that. So this is a sanctuary. So the idea is that when you defeat a certain number of sentinels, you reach a sanctuary like this, and then you can decide, okay, do I want to continue on to the next set of sentinels that are going to get harder and maybe get better loot? But if I die, I will lose some of the loot that I found so far. So the idea is that you want to sort of be careful, like whether you just keep the stuff that you found so far and bring it back to your citadel, or carry on onto a harder set of sentinels that might defeat you and make you lose some of the loot that you have. So this is our really sexy portal animations. The maps haven't been updated in this build yet, so they still look like development textures, but I just kind of want to give you a sneak peek of what the sentinels can be like. Oh, there's the Ravaging Avenger. I'm not sure which developer made this sentinel. It's got an axe, a battle axe. So it might just kick my butt. We'll see. Okay. Starting pretty intensely. What is this? Uh-oh. Oof. Okay. I don't want to go into the fire. Oh gosh. Okay, this is a really hard sentinel. I'm about to get embarrassed. Oh my god. Can I dash through those? You can dash through those? And I'm dying. Let me heal up real quick. Sorry for the sound. There's a bug with the audio. All right, hold on. Let me try to find a sentinel that's not just gonna absolutely destroy me right now. You can get gear for your character as well. Right now, I have the very basic default gear. It's not upgraded, and it's just a sword and the shield. So, playing against a pretty tough sentinel. Cheese sentinel. No, what is with your obsession with cheese? Why are you guys so obsessed with cheese? Is it the... no, I think it might be the only sentinel that's available. Okay, let's go make one. We're gonna go make a sentinel. We're currently reworking the sentinel editor. So things that you're looking at right now might change eventually. Actually, they'll definitely change. Let me just get rid of those real quick and then spawn them back in. Why is it giving me in-game currency? Oh no, it's consuming the in-game currency. Hold up. Give it a second. This is a development build. Am I doing this wrong? Hold up. I'm gonna restart it real quick. Or, hold on, I can just open this build instead. I know this one works. Ba-da-ba-ba. We didn't abandon Castle Story, and that's not fair of you to say. We worked on Castle Story for 6 years, and then we released 1.0 that contained everything we promised in the Kickstarter, everything we announced, everything we said Castle Story would have was in 1.0, and more things too. We never said there would be multiplayer, we never said there would be a world editor, we never said there would be crafting, we never said there would be blueprint saving and sharing on the workshop. We never said there would be the free agent system. And we continue supporting Castle Story after 1.0 until like 1.1.5 or something like that. And at some point we had to move on. We can't keep working on Castle Story forever, especially since Castle Story wasn't profitable anymore. So it was like, okay, we can either, you know, keep working on Castle Story and shut down the studio in 2 months, or we can start working on a new game. What is the logical thing to do? Okay, let me try playing against this Defiant Colossus. I think I made this Sentinel, but I don't remember when. We'll see what it does. So this is the top of the tower in your Sentinel. This is where you go to train against your own Sentinel. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, that should be a less impossible for me to defeat Sentinel. And I'm still really bad. So you notice how the laser ability, the laser spell is different from the... See, this is a different one. It's because you can upgrade your spells. And when you upgrade them, they change. They get stronger, they get different behaviors. And I'm really bad at this game. Oh my god. It's okay, I got him. So right now the Sentinel is doing these 3 or 4 abilities. Uh-oh, I just got debilitated. So now I'm slow. My dash doesn't recharge anymore. There we go. This is Spears Flight. Sends a bunch of little spears at you. Okay, that wasn't too hard. Ooh, how did he miss me? Lots of the effects are a work in progress. Lots of things are gonna change. But it still gives you a pretty good idea. Oh my gosh, that was a big circle. I'm getting better. I've been practicing a lot, but every time a developer makes a new Sentinel that has some of the new abilities, I'm like, wait, how do I do that? And I'm about to die. Let me heal up. So right now, the health potion I have has 3 charges. Maybe if I upgrade it, I can have a health potion with 4 charges. Or maybe I can have a health potion with charges that replenishes during gameplay, because right now the only way to get more charges is to reach a sanctuary. So if you use up all of your charges on the same boss, I don't know how to defeat this one. How to get past this spell, it's so hard. You'll notice I use a boomerang every now and then. That's one of the secondary weapons. There are different secondary weapons. Well, there will be different... Oh no, I died! There will be different secondary weapons. There's also a chance that if Mirador does well, maybe their next game could possibly be Castle Story 2. Maybe it could. Let's try out the Wicked Blade. This Wicked Blade has a... actually, no. I'm going to try the Ichor Mutant with a sword. You can equip different weapons on your Sentinels. Oh, there we go. That's another variation of the laser ability spell. Sorry. You have to pick up your boomerang after you drop it. I also am not good at dodging this spell. Yikes! Am I really gonna die this quickly? Oh, come on. Come on. I'm so bad at dodging these abilities, these spells. Alright, I got it this time. Just gotta get out of the circle. There we go. Just get out of the circle. Okay, I got it. The thing is, you gotta dodge the spells, but you also gotta get some damage in or you're never gonna get out of that fight. And I died. Oh my god, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I know I've perished. All right, let's try this guy. Right now, we're working on the new frames as well. So this is like the knight, but there's going to be the enforcer as well that we're going to be able to show you soon, which is pretty cool. It's more of a big hulking tank kind of sentinel. Oh, this is Seeker Bolt, but with the old VFX. There's a new VFX that I'm going to be posting tomorrow on social media, or you can get a sneak peek of it on the Kickstarter update that we posted yesterday. I am really bad at fighting these developer-made sentinels. If I make a sentinel, I'm pretty good at defeating it, obviously, because I made it. But those sentinels that the developers make are really good, and I can never beat them. Uh-oh. So, okay, I don't want to spoil too much. You get the idea. It's a big work in progress, but it's getting there. It is getting there, and it is very exciting. I think that about wraps it up for today's stream. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in Mirador, please check out the Kickstarter. There's a link in the chat right now, bit.ly/MiradorX. Check it out. Maybe you'll be interested in the pledges. If you pledge on the Kickstarter, you get some early rewards, which is pretty cool, some unique rewards. There's some exclusive stuff that only Kickstarter backers will get. Also, if you pledge on Kickstarter, you get to play the game early, in the early beta, and help us with feedback, and maybe your sentinels will be the first ones in the game. But for now, I will leave you to have a wonderful end of your week, and I will most likely see you next Thursday. I can't promise that there will be a stream next Thursday, but most likely there will be. And yeah, if you want to, check out the map that we worked on today, the Castle Story map. I put a link in the chat. Check it out, and tag me on Discord and let me know what you think of the map. The link to the Castle Story and the Mirador Discords is right there, discord.gg/castlestory, discord.gg/Mirador. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your support. Have a wonderful end of your week.